Radio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. With Guyana's oil development moving at industry-leading pace, consultancy groups are making their way to these shores to deliver lofty sermons about how much money these Stabroek Block barrels are projected to make. Most of these groups, however, avoid any analysis about the dangers Guyana faces with the industry or even how much more she could have been benefiting from in a better contract with ExxonMobil. Rystad Energy out of Norway is one such group that is here to present an intricate web of forecasts about Guyana's oil earnings to come. Senior Vice President and Head of Latin America for Rystad, Schreiner Parker, said that with current developments and the production trajectory for the Stabroek Block, the consultancy group forecasts the country will move up to 1.5 million barrels a day by 2035. Which means Guyana will be the number 4 offshore producer and ahead of provinces like Mexico, USA, and the UK, and Norway. Parker also said he believes Guyana is taking steps to implement best governance practices in order to harness the oil and gas revenues for broader economic development. He said these key steps have manifested in the form of the Natural Resource Fund and the Local Content Law, along with membership to the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. Kaieteur stressed, however, that the increased production of barrels and the revenues they earn do not automatically translate into transformational wealth for the people, as seen with the case of Angola and Nigeria. Both nations are the 2 largest producers of oil in the African continent, yet they are fraught with extreme poverty and corruption. As for the NRF and local content law, we highlighted that there are countries which are armed with both of these mechanisms, yet corruption persists and the true beneficiaries of the wealth are unable to improve their standard of living. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News. And moving on, weeks after it requested more time to seek expert advice to respond to the court case by Kaieteur News publisher Glenn Lal over its decision to grant excessive tax waiver to the oil companies, the government of Guyana has finally put in its submission. The document filed through the Office of the Attorney General, Anil Nandlal, outlined a number of contentions raised in Lal's application. In January, he filed an action to challenge the petroleum agreement dated June 27, 2016 between the Guyana government and the oil companies. According to Lal, the agreement between the oil company and the government grants exemptions to persons other than licensees which violate the Petroleum Exploration and Production Act, the Financial Administration and Audit Act, and the Constitution. And now let's tell you, 48-year-old Alex Ned of Le Penitence Public Road, Georgetown, on Wednesday admitted to police that he killed 33-year-old Rodwell Phillips, called Fishy, in self-defense. Phillips, a father of 2 and a mason of Broad Street, Charlestown, Georgetown, was killed on August 1st. He was discovered lying face down on the Le Penitence Public Road with a cutlass near to his body. Ned stated that during the fight, Phillips bit his left ear and this caused him to reach into his pants waist for a knife, which he used to stab Phillips 3 times. And now let's tell you, in keeping with the Guyana Prison Service Improvement Plan, the Ministry of Home Affairs is currently inviting contractors to build a new headquarters for the prison service. The ministry stated that bids for this project are slated to open on August 16th. The new building will be built at Lusignan, located on the east coast of Demerara. The construction of the prison headquarters will form part of the $2.3 billion that was allocated from this year's budget. Meanwhile, ExxonMobil has refused to comply with a requirement for full liability coverage for oil spill disasters. But the company's objective to speed up oil production at the same time has put Guyana in double jeopardy, increasing the risk of an accident. This is the view of former Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Vincent Adams. According to Dr. Adams, increasing the oil production rate above its operating limit by some 20% is callous and driven by greed, compromising the environment, health, and safety of the people of Guyana. The environmental impact assessment states that the system is designed to safely operate at sustained peaks of 120,000 barrels of oil per day. Just before we head to a short break, let's tell you that when it comes to the rental of buildings, consecutive governments continue to pump billions of taxpayers' dollars, often in the hands of private citizens, in an attempt to provide suitable occupancy to state and other related entities. But opposition MP Ganesh Mahipal said that the issue of over-rental of buildings under the various administration will continue unless there is a shift in the mentality of the political leadership from having to rent these buildings to owning them. He noted that the issue has resulted in wastage of the much-needed tax dollars and raised concerns over the management of the consolidated fund. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. The time is now 12 hours 8. We'll take a short break and return with our news.
Crazy. It's easy like 1, 2, 3. Can't believe all this money for me, money for me. I got to get the CASH. That's the code for the vault, so let's play. Top up with 1,000 and the next day you could be a millionaire. Did you sell?
More than 15 million to grab this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more to collect the letters to spell CASH for a chance to catch millions in the Digicel's cash vault. Top up today.
Did you sell?
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with your news. Agronomist Anthony Vera has resigned as a Kaieteur board member following what he said is corruption, incompetence, and dishonesty on the part of some company executives. The former board member related in a public missive yesterday that Kaieteur has embarked on measures that are not in the best interest of the already ailing company, and he will not be part of it. Vera stated that the company's CEO, Sesnarayan Singh, has been telling untruths to his board, his president, and the nation. Of the troubling issues is the acquisition of costly tractors, which are said to be unsuitable for the company's tilling requirements. Get the full details of these stories and more in today's Kaieteur News. A Barmeta man is in hot water after he reportedly cranked his illegal firearm on a shopkeeper in the Region 1 district for flashing a torchlight on him. The incident occurred on a Sunday. Presently in police custody is 22-year-old Romel Alonzo, and he is expected to be charged with the illegal possession of an unlicensed .32 pistol. According to Region 1 Commander Himnat Sa, Alonzo was initially arrested for threatening behavior towards a 38-year-old shopkeeper at Barama Line, Barmeta, Northwest District during the late evening hours of July 31st. In other news, police believe that an injured businessman found on Wednesday inside a Chinese supermarket at Susdike Junction was shot by an accomplice while they were trying to burglarize the property. Injured is Lloyd Thomas. According to the Chinese businessman, 49-year-old Zhu Jinhua, he had found the injured man around 2 hours 30 after being awakened by a banging sound on his metal door. He told investigators that as he got off his bed to investigate the noise, he heard a gunshot, and when he opened his bedroom door, he saw a masked man lying down in his supermarket and bleeding from the head. Jinhua claimed too that he saw 2 other men running out of his property after he made the discovery. And in other news, the parliamentary opposition is hoping to secure a court order preventing the suspension of 8 of its members of parliament when the matter is called at the High Court today. If not, the opposing side of the House is set to boycott an upcoming sitting of the National Assembly, where it is expected that the government will seek support for a supplementary provision totaling some $44.7 billion. Hours before the planned tabling of the motion in the National Assembly to suspend the 8 MPs, 2 weeks ago, the opposition moved to the court to challenge the Committee of Privileges recommendation. With the time now moving on to 12 hours 12 in Guyana, we wrap things up with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News dedicated to being blunt. The railway embank mess. It is now dangerous to drive on the east coast of the Demerara Railway embankment, especially at night due to the sea of potholes. Every 5 meters of commute, you are bound to encounter at least 3 potholes. It is mind-boggling that the government claims that it is spending so much money on infrastructure, and the embankment, a key thoroughfare for commuting along the east coast Demerara, is in such a mess. Anyone who drives on the embankment on a daily basis can testify of the many potholes, stretching from Enmore all the way to Sheriff Street Junction. Potholes in various sizes, some covered with water that can deceive unsuspecting drivers. Something needs to be done quickly to repair the embankment and the many other messy roads across this country. The erstwhile Juan Edgil and his sidekick Deodat Indar would do well in fixing these potholes rather than trying to defend ExxonMobil's stranglehold on this country. That brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands.